I think there's 5 things that we use in apologetics. Apologetics is simply defending the faith. 5 things we use to show the existence of God. Number 1, you have the cosmological argument. And the cosmological argument just simply says that because of the creation, it screams creator. And so you look around at the wonder of God's creation, and He reveals Himself in His creation. It just didn't come from nothing. There's no science that teaches that something comes from nothing. And so because of creation, you have the cosmological argument for the existence of God. And then number 2, you have the teleological argument for the existence of God. And that just simply means that there's order in creation. The earth just so happens to be the exact direct distance from the sun. If we were any closer, we'd melt. If we were any further, we would freeze. And so you look at order in creation, the eyeball and just the human body and the wonder of the animal kingdom and just all of God's creation, the order within that creation. I was sitting in a college class and I wanted to take the study of geography where things are, but they only had geology. And so I was like, study of rocks? No, I don't want to study rocks. But what I learned was that there are these water tables all under the earth, and there's precipitation that takes place, and you have the oceans and the lakes and the seas and all of this water, and the exact amount of water that goes up into the sky comes down through this water cycle. And I was like, no, 100%? It's a perfect system. How does that work? Like God did that. And yet they're teaching you, yeah, it just so happens, whatever goes up comes down, and it's just, we don't know how that happens. God did that. The order in God's creation is just an incredible thing. So the second argument for God would be the teleological argument for God. Then you have the moral argument for the existence of God. And just all peoples throughout all times know right and wrong. It's intuitive. They know it. It's in their heart. They know that murder's wrong. They know adultery's wrong. They know lying's wrong. No society would continue to exist if it were not for these things. You have the historical argument for the existence of God, which says Jesus existed in a time and place on earth, and you have all the history of the nation of Israel, and the Bible just continually comes true through archaeology, and they find all these digs and these facts. And there was a while that they said Pilate never existed. Jesus mentioned this guy Pilate, and then they discover, oh my gosh, there's a monument that was, discovered. Pilate existed at the time that Jesus said, and it's just constantly shown and proven, the historical argument for God. And then finally you have the personal testimony argument for God. People come in contact with this risen Lord, Jesus Christ, and their lives are changed. Their lives are never the same. And you take a drunk and you introduce them to Jesus, and somehow this life is transformed. You take a drug addict, a sex addict. You take all these wicked people and these sins, and it doesn't mean they're perfect, but you just see changed lives. More songs written about this Jesus. More poems written about this Jesus. More just people who come in contact with Jesus. It's just an incredible thing. So those are the 5 arguments for God. Now,